particularly those in North America. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sharak Abu Jabal, and with me I have...
Hi, I'm Rabbi Sheikh Gidon, or Jadua, and I'm with sonsofthenegev.com. I'm from the house of Judah, a redeemed firstborn son to the family of Aharon. So once again, we'd like to welcome all 12 tribes to this video, and we hope I get something new out of it.
All right, so we have, and they will subjugate and afflict them 400 years. So now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of what this 400-year captivity and prophecy is. Now, if you listen and you look carefully, notice he mentions all the captivities and then the 400 years.
Right.
So now we today have served 400 years in captivity in America after the exile. Now, he doesn't mention exiles here. So exiles don't count as time under captivity. He mentions specifically the captivities.
Right.
So,
and all those captivities that he mentioned to Abraham were after the Exodus.
All after Exodus.
Right. And they went in, and these captivities, it's clear they went in for worshiping false gods, which broke his covenant, which automatically puts you in dishonor with his law. Right. So the law and idol worship, not doing the law.
Once the law is written so that if you break the law, you receive the punishments for breaking such law. But it's also written that the moment you stop breaking the law, the punishment stops, and you can receive the promises or the blessings of the law.
So what I've heard is that this was all about Egypt. The 400-year captivity was the Egyptian captivity.
No.
But that's not true because we weren't in Egypt 400
years. We weren't in Egypt 400 years.
Well, we weren't in Egypt under rigorous captivity. Rigorous captivity for 400 years.
No, that's not the case at all.
We was only in there, according to Scripture, I believe, it's Exodus 12 and 40.
Okay, let's go to Exodus 12 and 40. Let's see what the captivity in Egypt was and whether it was 400 years of hard bondage. Right?
The testimonies may speak on this.
The testimonies will speak on this, and you can get more time if you scholarly brothers, y'all go ahead and reach in, dig in deep. Right?
Exodus 12 and 40, I believe.
Yes. And the dwelling of the sons of Israel in Mitzrayim were 32 weeks of years, 37 times 7 years, which is the sum of 210 years. You see that? The sum. They were there for 210 years.
Okay, and that's Exodus chapter 12, verse 40. So I wonder what it says in the KJV. Let's look here. Exodus chapter 12, verse 40 in the KJV says, "Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years."
Well, they cut this part out. You see? The sons of Israel, the dwelling of the sons of Israel in Mitzrayim was
30 weeks of years,
which is the sum of 210 years. But the number of 430 years had passed away since the Most High spoke to Abraham in the hour that he spake with him on the 15th of Nisan between the divided parts until the day that they went out from Mitzrayim. So it had been 430 years of what's the 15th of Nisan?
Unleavened bread.
It's the beginning of unleavened bread. It's the close out of the Passover.
Right.
You see? So this was 430 years since that time. They only spent 230 years in captivity, but a total since Abraham received the prophecy. So where's the 400 years of captivity?
So it couldn't have been Egypt.
It can't be that Egypt. But he references Egypt as a type of paraphrase or a parable for us to understand what to look for
A pattern.
in the pattern.
Okay.
So when you look at Ferris, we look at this kingdom, this Roman, Saudi Arabian, American run kingdom. Now you see all the players on the field. You have a people stuck in captivity for 400 years, and now it's time to come out. And we have provision. There is a provision in the land for everyone who wishes to come, learn the law, do the law, and live in peace.
Okay.
But we're going to get there because we have to finish this 400 years
Okay.
and this explanation.
So you want to go back to Genesis 15:14.
So let's go to Genesis 15 and 14 because we're going to take a look and make sure we verify our information. Right? And he says, after this captivity of Ferris, right? The last kingdom,
Okay.
he said, and also the people whom they shall serve, I will judge with 250 plagues.
So there's a judgment coming on the people that had the Most High's people, the Israelites, in bondage for 400 years. So after that 400 years is served, there's a judgment coming.
There's a judgment coming to all of those nations.
All of the nations that had a whole.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a global thing. It's every nation that has known Israel and their captivity. I'm going to judge that nation with 250 plagues. Now we know he did it in the Egyptian captivity, but the Egyptians didn't receive 250 plagues.
They didn't. It was like, what, 10?
That thing is 10 plagues. He says 250 in the Targums. This is a stark contradiction with the text that we've been taught to know, the King James Version.
Right.
So he says 250 plagues shall come upon them, and they shall go forth into liberty with great riches. Right? Now, let's talk about this.
Okay.
Some of the people who may come to us early may not come out with great riches. They'll come out with something. But there's a reward for being obedient, to come to learn the law. There'll be a provision here, and we'll get our wealth and riches here.
Okay.
Right? While the judgments are being brought out, we're going to gain our wealth and be blessed here because we're being lawful.
Okay.
For those who can't get out, or they're stuck in their captivity for whatever reason, that they have to endure the plagues that are coming out, in keeping this law, they'll be safe.
Keep the law. So if you can't get over here,
If you can't get over here, keep the law. If
best you can.
Best you can. If you can get over here, it is better to come and keep the law and being obedient, because you not coming, because he commanded you to come, is rebellion. And then that works as witchcraft. So there's all these little catches. The Most High is very, very intelligent. You're not going to outsmart him. If you can come, come. If you can't come,
Keep the law.
keep the law as best you can where you're at. You see? So there's the contingency. He says, I'll protect you. You'll come out with great wealth and riches from where you are. But you still have to return.
Yeah, that part.
You see?
It's clear.
A lot of people, they don't understand the dynamics that are written because there's so many loopholes, and then people can fill it in whatever they want. But here, I don't have to fill it in. I just read it.
Okay.
And it's direct.
Okay. So that was verse 14, or we're going to go on to 15? Read 16, 15, 16, 17, or what would you like to do from here?
Well, we're going to move.
So
We're going to read, I'm going to continue reading.
generation.
All right. I'm going to read 15 and 16. He says, and they shall go forth into liberty with great riches, and thou shalt be gathered to thy fathers, and thy soul shall rest in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age.
Okay.
Now that's him promising Abraham. You know what I'm saying? Abraham, you're going to pass away and be gathered to your forefathers in righteousness, and your soul will rest in peace, and you will be buried in a good old age.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So now Abraham is already over 90. And the Most High is still telling him, and you still got time on the clock.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So you're not going to just It's not going to be over for you no time soon. Relax. Enjoy your family, your life. Then he says,
16.
and verse 16, and in the fourth generation of thy sons, they will return hither to inherit, because the guilt of the Amorites is not yet complete. This is the most important part of this text, the fourth generation. You see, when the Most High is speaking to Abraham in this context, a generation is 1,000 years.
Okay.
You see? The same way they wanted to point out this was 400 years,
Right.
or 430 years since Abraham received the prophecy, it will be 4,000 years before the children of Israel wake up, receive the law again, and then come back to keep it.
Okay.
Now, this 1,000 years, what's 1,000 years? 1,000 years is a day, and a day is 1,000 years. We've all ran across that text within the King James.
Okay.
Well, that stands firm here,
Okay.
right? So for the Most High, 1,000 years is a generation of the children of Israel. That's what it is. He doesn't change that context. Now, we can get into another deeper teaching where I can go into the scripture and start pointing this out.
Okay.
But everybody will then begin to question, well, what year is it now? And what day is it?
Right.
Because you said the fourth generation since Abraham. Well, it's 4,000 years since Abraham, 6,000 years since Adam. That's the time period we're in now.
Okay.
Now, going over the time period is a different lesson altogether,
Right.
right? Because technically, according to this scripture, we are still in the Genesis account. The Most High said, I tell the end from the beginning. So when he prophesied the beginning about how he created the earth, we are still in the process. He is finished. So we are now just coming through, walking it out
The 7 days.
the 7 days by his word.
Okay. So a generation is 1,000 years in this context.
In this context.
Okay, gotcha. So then we can go on to verse 17, where it might have mentioned Abraham passing through the divisions, or
Verse 17. And when the sun had set, there was darkness, and behold, Abraham saw Gehenna ascending, smoke with flaming coals and burning flakes of fire, wherewith the wicked are to be judged. And behold, he, Abraham,
himself,
passed between those divisions.
he walked through the divisions of the two offerings, the two oblations.
So
on both
the
sides.
oblations are on both sides. Behind the oblations is nothing but flames of fire and destruction all around. And the only safe place to pass through or pass over to safety was between this oblation, between this offering.
Okay.
That piece of land was spared. The next line says, in that day, Yahweh ordained a covenant with Abraham that he would not judge therein his sons, but would deliver them from the kingdom, saying, to thy sons will I give this land, from the Nile of Egypt unto the great river of Peddah.
Okay.
It goes on and on to give more borders, but they have never received the fullness of those borders.
Okay.
And another important part is he says he ordained a covenant. So in ordaining this covenant that was ordained is the same covenant that was ordained with Moses. The Most High didn't change the covenant. Now he said, I'm going to save all your sons. We all have not agreed on anything at any point in time. But in the end, we're going to agree on keeping this law and the Abrahamic traditions and covenant.
Yes.
And that has already begun
Okay.
since we've arrived in this land.
Okay.
You see?
He said it was going to be one stick.
And we're coming together. I am here now living amongst my fellow Ishmaelite brothers, and they love me. And I love them, and they are rejoicing in our return.
Okay.
That's only here in Israel. Not Jordan, not Egypt, or any place else. Just right here not too far from Beersheba.
Okay, so with Genesis 15, 9 through 18, we basically have established the 400 years.
So now you know what the 400-year prophecy is. So now we come to the next point. What's the next question?
The next question is this the time?
Is this the time?
Is this the appointed time for the end of Israel's 400-year captivity?
So, is there an instruction for calculating the time scripturally? Now, I don't want, the Gregorian calendar where they added days. I don't want the Jewish calendar. What was commanded for us to keep time? Jubilees, chapter 6.
Jubilees, chapter 6.
Now I'm going to go into the Sefer because I don't have a Targum for Jubilees. But I have a Sefer here, and I'm going to read Jubilee 6.